In this video, we will be looking at how to send pages and sections over to students. Basically, it asks the question, now that I've created a unit, how do I send it out? So now that we have created a unit, it's time to push that unit out to all of our students. So remember that I created my unit inside of the teacher only section so that I would have a little bit more control about when students were able to view what I was creating for them. Now that I know it's ready though, I'm going to send it out to them. So the first thing I need to do is go to teacher only and locate the module or the unit that I created, and it's right here. So I have called this unit Hamlet Act 1. So now I need to make sure that each student has a section inside of their personal notebooks that is called Hamlet Act 1. I've got all of the information that I want to send out. Now I need to create a folder of sorts for that. So make sure that across the top you have selected Class Notebook, and then you're going to see a menu pop up that allows you to distribute things. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that new section for each student. And so go to Distribute New Section, click on that, and I'm just distributing the section or the folder. I'm not distributing an entirely new group of things because I've already created it. Now, if you wanted to create it on the fly and you wanted to distribute this entire unit at once, you could do Distribute New Section Group, but remember that's going to distribute blank pages that you then have to go in and add content to while the students can see it. So it's a useful tool if you are fine with building it and the students understand that they're not going to see everything at once. But if you would prefer to push a finished product out to them, you're going to go here. So Distribute New Section. And then notice it just asks me to give it a name. So I'm going to type here, and I'm just going to type in Hamlet Act 1. Now, this is telling me that the section name already exists, and that's because I've already distributed it. But if I wanted to, like if I hadn't created it already, I would just like type it up and click on distribute, and then the students would be able to see it inside of their personal notebooks. So let me show you what that looks like. So I'm going to come down here to Dr. Horn, and you can see that Hamlet Act 1 is right there. So if I click on someone else, like Ms. Bain, you can see that Hamlet Act 1 is also in her list. So now I've got my section distributed, or like basically the folder that's going to house all of my work. Now I'm going to come down through here and I'm going to distribute each of these pages. So to do that, I'm going to click on the page. Remember, I'm in the teacher only section. Click on the page I want to distribute. Then I'm going to come over here to distribute page. Now, here's where you have some options. If you have set up groups inside of your course, then you could click on group distribution, and notice I have the Groupie McGroupface group. I can send that out. So this allows me to distribute it only to a single group. So let's say that I wanted to differentiate, and so this Groupie McGroupface group was receiving this, but another group wasn't. Or let's say I had like 8 groups and 6 out of 8 of those groups were receiving this. They would all be listed here, and I would just check the information next to their name and then click on next. Now, I would have the option to basically select the student section where I want this to be distributed. So since I'm sending it to Hamlet Act 1, I would choose there. Now, I've already distributed this individually, so let me show you what that looks like. All right, so I can, like I said, distribute this to an individual. Now, this would be like if I created work for just a handful of people, and so everyone in the class was getting something else or doing something else, or maybe this is a makeup assignment, or some folks who were receiving extra credit opportunities that not everyone was. I could click on individual distribution and my whole class will load up and I can select which students I want to distribute this to individually. Again, you're going to click next and you're going to choose where the destination is that it's going. All right. So I can distribute it cross notebook distribution. So let's say that I created this class notebook in my first period class, and I wanted to send all of this information to my second period class. Well, I click on cross notebook distribution and it would allow me to choose which other teams I wanted to send these to. So here are all the other teams that I'm a member of. And let's say that I wanted to send this to the first period class. I would just choose that, click next, and then I could distribute it from there. The thing that you are probably most often going to do, and this is why I've held it for last, is just click on distribute the page. This will send it to every single person in the class. It will not differentiate it for it, so everyone will receive a copy of this. And then once I'm done, I choose where I want to send it. I click on where it's going to be distributed. And then let me come down here and I'll click on distribute. Now, this is the steps that I've taken to distribute this. And so let me show you that it sent it to my people already. There it is. Now, something that you should know is that when you create a section, the very first page is going to be an untitled blank page. Now, this is just how it works when you distribute a section. So even though you're sending several pages to your students, they're still going to have an untitled page. What you can do is say, hey, on that untitled page, I just want you to take notes there. Or you could say questions I want to ask, things like that. So you can actually give your students instructions about what you want them to title that blank page. This will be a great place for them to take notes as they were reading through, to jot down questions that they may have. Or you might have, an assignment. Say, okay, come up with the best purpose for this untitled page. I don't know. But just keep in mind that each student is going to have that untitled page just because of how the notebook distribution works. And so if they ask you questions about it, you're able to say, well, do with it what you will. See, here's one in Ben Faust. He has an untitled page. So it would be great for students to take notes on, or you can just say, okay, guys, come in here, right click on it and delete it. And you can permanently delete that untitled page. Now, I don't recommend that you go through and do it because, man, that's a lot of pages to delete. But just as long as the students understand that that's in there and they have to work around it, they will be fine. So once you are done distributing the page, just go down through and distribute each page in there. Now, I wish there was a way to distribute an entire section that has already been created. If I find a way, I will let you know. But as of right now, distributing the page to the specific section is how you need to do it. But the great news is you know it's ready. You don't have to create it multiple times, or you don't have to create it on the fly. So if you have any questions about how to do this, just let me know.